Hi everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In today's class, let us start one new chapter, and the name of our chapter is Respiration in Plants. So the respiration is a process in which the two things happen, or the two processes takes place. That is breathing, and the second one is cellular respiration. Breathing is nothing but exchange of gases, and cellular respiration is a process where the glucose breaks down into the cells and it releases energy. So the substrate, which is nothing but glucose, it is going to break down and it releases energy into the cells, and this process is called as cellular respiration. Generally, this cellular respiration is of two types. The one is aerobic respiration and the other one is anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is a type where the glucose gets converted or where the glucose gets broken down to release energy into the different cells in the presence of oxygen. Oxygen is required to carry out this process. So this is nothing but aerobic respiration. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, no need of oxygen. The oxygen is not required in carrying out the process of anaerobic respiration. So this is the main difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Let us first talk about the anaerobic respiration, which takes place in the absence of oxygen. So the first step in the anaerobic respiration is glycolysis. Glycolysis is a step which is common in both aerobic and anaerobic. So anaerobic respiration is a process which starts with a pathway called glycolysis. Glycolysis is nothing but where the glucose gets converted into two molecules of pyruvic acid. We know that glucose is a 6-carbon compound. So this pyruvic acid is a 3-carbon compound. So this glucose gets converted into two molecules of pyruvic acid so that it gives rise to the 6-carbon compound in total. 2 molecules of pyruvic acid means 2 molecules of 3-carbon compound results in the formation of 6 carbons. So in this way, the glycolysis takes place, that too in the absence of oxygen. This process is called as anaerobic respiration, and when this anaerobic respiration takes place in yeast, then this pyruvic acid gets converted into ethanol. Ethanol is a 2-carbon compound. Now when this pyruvic acid gets converted into ethanol, it gives rise to 2 molecules of ethanol. 2 molecules of ethanol means in total we'll be getting 4 carbon. Now the remaining 2 carbons of these pyruvic acids is going to released in the form of 2 molecules of carbon dioxide. In a process where pyruvic acid is getting converted into ethanol, that process is called as fermentation. Now when this anaerobic respiration takes place in the muscles of humans, then this pyruvic acid gets converted into lactic acid. Lactic acid is 3-carbon compound, and 2 molecules of lactic acid will be getting after the conversion of this pyruvic acid. And here there will be no release of carbon dioxide because it is going to be directly converted into 2 molecules of lactic acid. Lactic acid is 3-carbon compound which can be formed after the conversion of pyruvic acid. Now when this lactic acid accumulates in the muscles of the human, then it results in the muscle pain, or we can call it as muscle fatigue. Okay, so this is about anaerobic respiration. All these processes takes place in the absence of oxygen. This anaerobic respiration takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell, and it results in the formation or in the synthesis of 2 ATP molecules. Only 2 ATP molecules will be synthesized in an anaerobic respiration. Now let us move to aerobic respiration. How the aerobic respiration takes place, let us see. And the glycolysis is a process which completes its all reactions in 10 steps. So glycolysis is a 10-step process. Let us see how it undergoes the different reactions. let us see all the 10 steps that comprises the pathway called glycolysis. So the first step is where the glucose gets converted into glucose 6-phosphate. For the conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, energy is required where the ATP molecule gets changes into ADP. ATP is a molecule which releases energy, which provides energy, and also which adds the phosphate groups to the different molecules. So here the ATP is required by the enzyme called hexokinase. So hexokinase is an enzyme that is responsible for converting glucose into glucose 6-phosphate where the ATP is required. Now after this reaction, this glucose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 6-phosphate. And this reaction takes place in the presence of an enzyme isomerase. Glucose is also a 6-carbon containing compound, and here these two products are also 6-carbon containing compounds. Now this fructose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 1,6-biphosphate. Here also the energy is required, so the ATP gets changes into ADP and provides energy to the substance to get converted into a product, that is fructose 1,6-biphosphate. And this is a reaction which takes place in the presence of an enzyme phosphofructokinase. So till here the ATP, which is an energy molecule, is required for the conversion of different substances. Now at this stage, where the fructose 1,6-biphosphate gets converted or it undergoes lysis, that means it breaks down into two compounds that are dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So these are the 3-carbon containing compound. This 6-carbon containing compound called fructose 1,6-biphosphate splits into two different 3-carbon containing compounds that are dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So here half of the reactions of the pathway glycolysis took place, and half of the reactions, in the half of the reaction of glycolysis, ATP is required, ATP is invested, but in the other half of the reactions in the pathway glycolysis, ATP will get synthesized. So how it is going to synthesize? Let's see. This glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate undergoes the reaction, and dihydroxyacetone phosphate has an ability to get converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. They are interconvertible. So in this way, this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate undergoes redox reaction where the oxidation takes place and also the reduction takes place. So this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate gets converted into 1,3-biphosphoglycerate, and here as the reduction reaction takes place, NAD gets converted or it gets changes into NADH2. In this way, NADH2 is nothing but a reducing power. So in this way, the reducing power can be generated at this step. Here, the conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate into 1,3-biphosphoglycerate takes place in the presence of an enzyme called glyceraldehyde 3-phosphodehydrogenase. This is an enzyme that involves in the conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. Now this is a compound where two phosphate groups are present, and this 1,3-biphosphoglycerate gets converted into 3-phosphoglycerate. As 1,3-biphosphoglycerate contains two phosphate groups, one phosphate is added up into adenosine diphosphate that results in the synthesis of ATP. So here this is a step where ATP gets synthesized. Now this step occurs in the presence of an enzyme called phosphoglycerokinase. 3-phosphoglycerate gets converted into 2-phosphoglycerate in the presence of an enzyme phosphoglyceromutase. Now this 2-phosphoglycerate in the presence of an enzyme enolase gets converted into PEP, that is nothing but phosphoenol pyruvate. Phosphoenol pyruvate is a compound in which the phosphate group is present, and that phosphate group is added to adenosine diphosphate, which results in the synthesis of ATP. This is also a step where ATP gets synthesized and it results in the formation of pyruvic acid. This is a reaction that takes place in the presence of pyruvic kinase, which is an enzyme responsible to convert phosphoenol pyruvate into pyruvic acid. Phosphoenol pyruvate is a compound that contains phosphate group, and that phosphate group is being used up by ADP to get or to synthesize ATP. Now after the synthesis of ATP, this phosphoenol pyruvate gets converted into pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid is a compound in which there is no phosphate group present. So here in this way, glucose molecule gets converted into pyruvic acid, and this happens in all these 10-step reactions. Now let us see the number of ATPs and the number of reducing power, that is NADH2, gets generated in the pathway called glycolysis. So here 2 ATPs are used up to carry out the different reactions. So here we'll write 2 ATPs are used and 1 NADH2 gets generated. Here it is. And we know that 1 NADH2 can give 3 ATP molecules, 3 ATPs. Now here 1 ATP is synthesized and here the second ATP is synthesized. So in total we will be getting 2 ATPs. Now as I said you that glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is a compound which undergoes oxidation reaction to give the products or to give the other substances in the process called glycolysis. So after this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate gets converted into pyruvic acid, again this dihydroxyacetone phosphate will be interconverted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Then again that glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate undergoes the other reactions of the glycolysis, and it also results in the formation of NADH2 and the 2 ATP molecules. Let us see how many ATP molecules and reducing power can be generated by the process called glycolysis. So here 1 NADH2 gets generated and 2 ATP molecules get synthesized. Now as I said you before that this dihydroxyacetone and the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate are interconvertible compounds. So once the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate undergoes the other reactions of the glycolysis and results in the formation or synthesis of reducing power and ATP molecules, again this dihydroxyacetone phosphate gets converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Then that glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will also undergo the different reactions in the glycolysis pathway, and it also results in the synthesis of reducing power as well as energy molecule, that is ATP. So here 1 NADH2 will come from glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Then again one more NADH2 will come after the conversion of dihydroxyacetone phosphate into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So in total we will be getting 2 NADH2 molecule, and here glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will give 2 ATP molecule. Then after the interconversion of dihydroxyacetone phosphate into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, again we will be getting 2 ATP molecules. So in total 4 ATPs can be synthesized. Now we know that 1 NADH2 can give 3 ATPs. So we will be having 2 NADH2. First NADH2 will give 3 ATPs. Second NADH2 molecule will again give 3 ATPs, and we will be having 4 ATPs. So when we add up all these ATP molecules, in total we will be getting 10 ATPs. Now we know that in the first half reactions of the glycolysis, 2 ATP molecules are used up. So if we remove 2 ATPs from the total amount, then in total we will be getting 8 ATP molecules. So in total we are getting 8 energy molecules from the pathway called glycolysis. glycolysis. So glycolysis is a pathway in which glucose gets converted into pyruvic acid. Glucose first converted into glucose 6-phosphate. Here the energy is required, and then glucose 6-phosphate will changes into fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 1,6-biphosphate. Here in this step also the energy ATP is required. Now this fructose 1,6-biphosphate undergoes lysis and it breaks down into two compounds that are dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. This glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate undergoes redox reaction. It results in the formation of reducing power, that is NADH2, and the substance that we get after the redox reaction of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. This 1,3-biphosphoglycerate adds up one phosphate molecule or one phosphate group to the ADP that results in the synthesis of ATP. So in this step ATP gets synthesized and the product that we get is 3-phosphoglycerate. Now this 3-phosphoglycerate gets converted into 2-phosphoglycerate. 2-phosphoglycerate gets converted into phosphoenol pyruvate. Phosphoenol pyruvate is a compound that contains phosphate group in it, and this phosphate group is again added to ADP, adenosine diphosphate, which results in the formation of ATP, which is an energy molecule. So in this step also we will be getting energy molecule. Energy gets synthesized and the product that we get is pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid is a compound which do not contain any phosphate group. So this is about a process called glycolysis, in which we will be getting 10 ATPs. Out of 10, 2 ATPs are used up in the first half reactions of the glycolysis, and remaining 8 ATPs get synthesized in the process or in the pathway called glycolysis. So this is about the first step of aerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, we will be getting 8 ATPs, but in anaerobic respiration, only 2 ATPs get synthesized. So what are the changes that we can see in the glycolysis of anaerobic respiration? So in the absence of oxygen, this NADH2, which is a reducing power, after getting generated, it gets converted back into NAD. So in this way, no NADH2 can be synthesized in anaerobic respiration. So by this, no ATP formation takes place. Only 2 ATPs will be generated at these two steps. So as the reaction takes place twice after the interconversion of the DHAP also, 4 ATPs in total will be generated. Out of 4, 2 will be used up in the first reactions of the glycolysis. So in this way, only 2 ATPs can be synthesized in anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration means the process of breaking down of glucose into pyruvic acid in the presence of oxygen. So aerobic respiration is a process that takes place in 4 steps. The first one is glycolysis, second one is Krebs cycle, third is electron transport chain, and fourth is oxidative phosphorylation. So these are the 4 steps that completes the process of aerobic respiration. So that's all for today. Meet you in next class. Thank you.